Alrighty, people. How you doing? How you living? How you feeling? Y'all know look, we're not the best with being on time. 3 things guaranteed in life here from Lindell says death, taxes, and Zach and Badaki being late. But we're here, all right?
And that's that. And we're here.
Well, funnily enough, we were late because we were talking about ways to improve our content that we're releasing for you guys this offseason. So
you know what? Maybe we can be on time every time and just not improve the content at all.
Nah, maybe later. Maybe later you'll thank us. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, people? Welcome in. What's up, Joel? Welcome in. I agree, Artie. What's Gucci? What's up, Sean? What's up, Scribbles? Welcome in. We've got Styles in the building. We've got Kieran in the building. Scribble says, are we early? Are they late or are we just early? And I think that's the mentality. What was it from Princess Bride? I watched that growing up. Yeah, whatever. Judge me if you want. The queen is never late. Everybody else is just early. Which you love to see. What's up, K Money? What's up, D Macy? What's up, Jai? I haven't scouted that player yet. What's up, Big B? What's up, Joe, Landon, Wursel, JCM, Lewis? Wursel, yes, we have seen those spiders. What's up, Macy? Welcome in. We appreciate everybody for being here. Gonna have a fantastic stream for you guys. 2 things on the agenda. Number 1, a Dynasty startup draft, including the rookies. You can draft the rookies. We'll tell you how in a second. Number 2 is doing some team playbooks through the Flock Fantasy website. We've got some teams that we're excited to review today. And I never hit start streaming, but I'll hit it now.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
We are thrilled to be here with you and super excited to talk shop, talk ball, and we appreciate you for being here. Do us a massive favor. Smash that like button to show some love. Like goal today is 100 likes. It's a bit audacious, but I think with your help, we can get there. So we're almost halfway there already. Be a friend. Hit that like button to show some love. And we are absolutely thrilled to be here with you. Shane says, are the yearly flockers able to submit our free team review for this year yet, or we get prior? So basically, guys, the way it works is when you are a yearly Mother Flocker member with our promo code, when it's time to renew, you will renew and then you get another team review with the playbook, right? So that's the way it works. If you don't have a free voucher yet, it means you probably haven't renewed your membership just yet. But when your membership gets renewed, you get that free voucher for the team review. And if you want the live version, all you have to do is pay $10. So appreciate y'all for being here with us. Again, we are going to get to a Dynasty startup draft.
Right.
But there was some important news. This name is very important to the Devy community because he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school and originally started at Texas A&M, then transferred to Oregon. I was very low on this player because I had a lot of question marks, even though I love the talent in the 2025 class. And It's official that he is returning to school. So in case you guys have not heard the news, Evan Stewart officially decided to return to Oregon for another season. This is 100,000% the right move, in my opinion. I love him. I don't think he was going to get drafted in the first 3 or 4 rounds. I think he might have been a 5th-round pick. There was very little evidence to suggest that he should be a top 3-round pick. So the talent is there. We all know that. But it hasn't come together full circle for him. So that report is out there, and I think that's the right move for him for sure. But we are going to do a Dynasty startup draft. I'm going to pick up the 101. And
send me that link, by the way, brother.
I'm going to send you the link. But Badaki, I'm sure there are people out there who do want to get in this draft with us and do want to talk shop. So for those people out there who do, how can they get a chance to get into this mock draft? How's that process work? Walk us through that.
Yeah, join our Discord. That link is in the description and in the chat already. So join that Discord, go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs, and then go to announcements. If you're watching this now or later, you'll have the opportunity to join each and every mock draft, whether it's rookie or Dynasty startup here, okay? Go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs, go to announcements, and that's exactly where I'll be dropping the link to each and every mock draft of the future. And I'll send that link out now once I join the mock draft. So let me pick. I'm going to be picking, let's go right in the middle of the pack here. Let's see what's going to happen at the 106. All right, 3, 2, 1. That is out. There you go.
All right, so that's going to fill up here soon. Here's the deal for the rookie class. We're not going to use any mock draft for landing spots today, but essentially the way this is going to work is I'm going to add the kicker position. All right, and whenever you want to draft a rookie, all you need to do is draft a kicker and put it in the chat which rookie you actually are drafting, okay? So this is a 12-man PPR, tight end premium, super flex draft with rookies, all right? And all you have to do, again, is draft a kicker, put it in the sleeper chat which rookie that is that you want to take, and we will make it happen, Captain. So, again, appreciate everybody for being here. Do us a favor, smash that like button and show some love. Like goal is at 100, and we're already past halfway. You guys are incredible. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. And this is, Badaki, our first startup mock draft of the year 2025.
That's right.
It's the first one we've done with rookies included. I'm excited to get into it. Let's get this thing popping.
Let's see what happens, baby.
And here at the 101, your boy's on the clock, and I purposely put myself on the clock
because say, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Because I have had a new QB1 in Dynasty since week 6.
It's the wrong
and
answer.
When I did that in week 6, the reaction was that it was too early, but I didn't care, and I still feel the same way. Jaden Daniels is my quarterback 1. I'm gonna take him here at the 101.
He's biased.
Absolutely fantastic rookie season. In fact, if you guys watched our 2024 rookie draft content, I had this saying that I kept saying over and over and over and over and over, and I said I would not be surprised if this time next year the most valuable rookie in the 24 class is easily Jaden Daniels with what he can do on the ground. Then he comes out as a rookie and he sets the rookie record for rushing yards amongst the quarterback position. Absolutely incredible rookie season, not only for fantasy, but also in real life. I mean, he led this team, which is a poverty franchise. I know that's as a fan of them. He led them to the playoffs, 11 wins, if I'm not mistaken, and absolutely incredible. I did not feel this way about CJ Stroud last year. I had a lot more question marks around CJ Stroud, especially considering he doesn't have the rushing upside that a Jaden Daniels does. But he averaged 21.5 points per game. And what you have to keep in mind is that number is a little bit skewed because if you remember, the game versus Carolina, he only played 14% of the snaps and left with that injury. So his points per game number is actually higher if we want to be realistic about it. But absolutely incredible, elite rookie season. And he did it, by the way, throwing to Zach Ertz. Olamide Zaccheaus was a key part of the second half run. Noah Brown, yes, Terry McLaurin, but I think he's my quarterback 1, and I'm sticking to it.
Sure. It's wrong. Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's Josh Allen can be your quarterback 1. Lamar Jackson could be your quarterback 1. I don't mind that. I just think Daniels, he's shown me enough. He's shown me enough.
He showed him enough. Ooh, Brock Bowers is the one, ain't?
I don't hate it, honestly. I don't hate that move. That would make him the 102 if we redid a rookie draft. I guess that's not crazy. But yeah, wow. I'm just realizing that.
No, look, it definitely makes sense. You just hope he doesn't have the CJ Stroud fall off, you know?
Well, friendly reminder, there was no one on YouTube telling you guys to sell CJ Stroud harder than this guy right here. And I don't think it's the same situation. Yeah. I mean, CJ Stroud averaged like 18 points per game as a rookie. It was just completely different. And had no rushing upside whatsoever. So yeah, obviously that's my opinion, but doesn't mean it's right. So the first 4 wide receivers that go off the board, was Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Malik Neighbors. The first quarterbacks in the second round, Justin Herbert at the 201, who had a really rough start to the season, but finished off real strong in the second half, which was great to see because it was pretty frustrating start, like first 4 weeks of the season for him for fantasy. Yeah. Would you take CJ Stroud as a first round pick still in a startup?
Yeah, in a super flex startup, I would.
Okay.
I still would. I still think he's a good, top 10 dynasty quarterback in my eyes. Or could be a top 10 quarterback in my eyes, but I think it just also depends on who's on the board. Like, am I taking Malik Neighbors over CJ Stroud? I would.
Yeah, I think
I would take CeeDee Lamb over CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
It just really depends on who's available, to be completely honest.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see Drake May go that late because Drake May is my quarterback 6. I have Drake May ranked ahead of Patrick Mahomes, Stroud, Love, and Herbert. So that's interesting to see him go that late. Very impressive rookie season, in my opinion, considering he had literally nothing to work with. Terrible offensive line, literally no weapons to speak of. Our first rookie does come off the board here, gang, and this is going to be the second running back. Okay. All right, so the second running back comes off the board. Maybe we're getting a little too happy with the rookie class. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not saying that it is. But Ashton Jeanty comes off the board here to FP Flex, and he is our first rookie in this Dynasty Startup draft. I'm not going to... It's code Cinnamon right now, but we'll talk about this in a second. Nico Collins comes off the board. You take Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's what I was going to say. I still think Jahmyr Gibbs, given his draft capital, given his success through the first 2 years, he was the RB1 this year, by the way, overall finish. And on points per game, he was 2 behind Saquon. But for him to go as an RB3 off the board, that was a little surprising to me to see Jahmyr Gibbs fall that far.
Yeah. No, look, it makes sense. Me going the wide receivers over the running backs, getting some running backs later on in the draft normally works for me, especially in start 10. Just trying to prioritize that, but yes.
Yeah. 100%.
I wonder how a lot of people feel about, Monty missing a significant amount of time with Jahmyr Gibbs in the second half of the season. I wonder what he was with Monty in. Was he still like a top 5 top guy? I think they were both at least top 10 throughout the whole time. But I wonder if people feel a little bit skewed about that.
Yeah.
Not saying he can't do that again, but I was like, Monty, I think he missed 6+ games, if I'm not mistaken, or 6 games or 5 games.
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. But that sounds right. I just don't know. Yeah, so this is interesting so far for sure. Matt Marvin going at the 210, obviously a disappointing season for him. In my rankings, I have a quarterback that I have ranked ahead of CJ Stroud, ahead of Patrick Mahomes, and he's still available on the board to me. I also have a wide receiver that I have ranked ahead of Marvin Harrison. That's available on the board to me. And the good news is I have back-to-back picks. So I'm going to take both of those names. The first name being Brian Thomas Jr. Guys, Brian Thomas Jr.'s rookie season, considering what was around him, is one of the historically great seasons we've ever seen. I mean, obviously, look, I know, like Puka Nacua with Matthew Stafford, though. I mean, if you look at this guy's rookie season, it's unheard of. Like, with Mac Jones and a shell of Trevor Lawrence, he had almost 90 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Insanity. Absolute insanity what he did.
I saw like a report or a graphic saying like it was him. People that done that was OBJ and Jerry Rice. Like he was amongst those guys in the rookie.
Yeah. And when you include the context of like his quarterback play compared to all these other historic great rookie seasons, it's crazy. I mean, obviously Justin Jefferson, okay, Kirk Cousins. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I mean, we can go back, look at all these historic seasons. Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, Brian Thomas, Mac Jones, and Trevor Lawrence. It's absolutely insane. Brian Thomas, I believe, should be wherever you value Malik Neighbors. That's where you should value Brian Thomas. Straight up, they should not be far from each other in your rankings at all, in my humble opinion. And I'm also going to take Bo Nix here. You and I famously absolutely roasted for our love of Bo Nix, for how high we had him in our rookie rankings.
Got a lot of Bo Nix.
Of course, we get a lot of things wrong, but Bo Nix was a player that you and I were very high on. I'm absolutely going to take him here at the 301. I have him ranked ahead of Caleb Williams. I have him ranked ahead of Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes. Not Jordan Love, but those other names, yes. If you look from week 5 onwards, all right, and he had admittedly, he had a pretty rough start. But from week 5 onwards, Bo Nix was the quarterback 5 in fantasy football, and he averaged 21.5 points per game. He averaged more points per game than Jaden Daniels. He averaged more points per game than Justin Herbert. He averaged more points per game than Sam Darnold. Dude was an absolute superstar from week 5 onwards, and he's doing it with just Cortland Sutton. I mean, really, look at the rest of that team. Look at the rest of that Broncos team. It's not even a running back that you can get excited about talking about. So yeah, I'm thrilled with this start with Daniels, Thomas, and Nix, and it's hilarious because it's an all rookie start from 2024 for me at the 101. You started with Burrow and Amon-Ra St. Brown. What are you thinking here at the 306?
I wanted Drizzy for sure.
I love that pick. 305 is a great value. That game with Michael Penix was sexy.
Yeah, I wanted Drizzy for sure. Gosh, looking at these guys here, I think my next best available at the wide receiver position is going to be AJ Brown.
Yeah, he'll be the forgotten vet in this cycle of offseason. There's always one. It always happens. So he'll be that forgotten vet that ends up being a value. I like the pick, Badaki. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And, considering his injuries this year, still had a pretty good season, Still had a pretty good season.
Yeah, 100%. He wasn't too bad, obviously. When he was in the game, I think it was 3 or 4 games, or actually 2 games, that if he wasn't serviceable, one that he left early and another one where I think he only got 2 targets and it was just like a Saquon game. That was him, and the rest, obviously, he was injured. So you felt pretty confident starting AJ Brown most of the time. Obviously, if he didn't miss those games, would have easily finished, in my opinion, as a top 8 wide receiver this year if he did play every single one of those games. But hey,
yeah,
like you said, he's forgotten. And there's Xavier.
It always
going
happens.
3 quarterbacks.
I was gonna say, it's not a terrible strategy. If in the startup, if you're drafting purely based off of best player available, Kyler could definitely be that name. But yeah, I mean, it just depends on how you plan on making trades post draft. To be honest, at the tight end position, outside of the top 2 names that just went off the board, I'm not really sure I have an interest in drafting any of these guys very high. So it is a tight end premium. So it'll be interesting to see how that all kind of pans out. But yeah, so cool to see Trey McBride come off the board. What an incredible season for Trey McBride. Despite all the circumstances he had in front of him, no touchdown until week 17.
17, yeah.
And still one of the most dominant tight ends in the game this year. Also, shout out to my boy JSN. Last year, when we always make these videos where we're like, hey, if you have a 2025 pick, you can trade it for this player. And I think the 107 was where JSN was valued in the 2025 class before the season. And we were buying him everywhere there. Good to see him finally become the player that we believed he could be. To all my JSN stands out there, our time is now. Obviously, Garrett Wilson in a very peculiar situation. I don't really know that anyone knows how to digest the New York Jets at this point. It's very confusing.
Just trade him away, please. I beg of you.
We do see CMC come off the board at the 310. I think that was an auto pick. Then we had Sam Laporta. It's, you know, I don't know. That feels too early. I know it's a tight end premium. I don't think I would touch Laporta in the first 6 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, the fall off was pretty big. I mean, was pretty much non-existent, even though it felt like he was non-existent, even though he finished as the top 10 tight end, averaged 10, nearly 11 points. Just was not, you were not happy the fact that you drafted Sam Laporta. I mean, in a redraft perspective, in the first 2 rounds, and then in a dynasty startup, I think he was also going the first 2 rounds last year. It was terrible. It wasn't okay.
All
Here,
right.
we got another rookie off the board.
We do have our second rookie coming off the board here. Let's see. I think I know who it is, but let's see. Oh, okay. Omarion. I like that. I mean, I love Omarion. I'll be honest, like the running backs are really tough to know exactly how to value until draft capital is there because we have this expectation, right? My expectation is Omarion Hampton doesn't get out of the second round. My expectation is he could be a late first if there's a team that falls in love with him. I don't think he will, but like it's certainly a possibility. You think Travis Etienne, Najee Harris type range when they were drafted, but yeah, hard to value these guys if you are doing startups right now without the draft capital. But I do love me some Omarion Hampton. He is my quarterback 2, my running back 2 as well in this class. Big fan of his game. Omarion reminds me a ton of James Conner. And, you know, that's probably not a sexy name to a lot of people. You're like, really? You're comparing your RB2 to James Conner? I mean, James Conner, come on. Like, he's just a consistent, reliable, good fantasy running back that you can run your entire offense through, your run game through, that you can catch out of the backfield. I'm a big fan of Omarion's game. I really am.
Yeah, I think. Ooh, that's what I want to say there.
Yes, I was wondering when he was going to come off the board.
I want to say. That's what I was contemplating with Saquon and AJ Brown. And I was like, oh, let's see how far he goes. And then Xavier takes him, and then we get another rookie off the board here from Flex.
I have Saquon ranked as my running back 3, by the way. So he went off the board here as the RB 6. Damn it, Rashee Rice. I was waiting to grab Rashee Rice. That's unfortunate. He is the one glaring player that I saw on the board, and I was like, damn, how is this guy still available? But no longer available. We'll have to rethink this next pick. Love that pick of Rashee Rice. What was the rookie? We got Tet McMillan coming off the board there.
Yeah, Tet.
By the way, you know, I love Tet McMillan. It feels like there's this energy right now in the Dynasty community where if he isn't your wide receiver 1, it means that you don't like him. I find that a bit silly. Because I do like Tet. I definitely I've compared him to Mike Evans. I'm comparing him to Drake London. Is he my wide receiver 1 in the class? No, but
do it.
I like him. All right, Michael Penix comes off the board.
Yeah,
I love it.
We'll see. When I say we'll see, I technically have another quarterback over him, which I don't want to name right now because of Cinnamon. But you know, obviously, this feels like a more high-powered offense where maybe they want to throw the ball a little bit more and kind of see what's going to be happening. But I like what I saw in the last couple games from him, and it's clear that they're most likely going to move on from Kirk Cousins already.
He'll be their backup or traded.
Yeah. So Michael Penix, take a shot here in the 4th. See what happens.
Yeah, no, I love the pick. I think it makes a ton of sense, especially if you're trying to hit upside there. You know, 4-7. Yeah, like Baker Mayfield's probably safer, but I have Michael Penix ranked ahead of him. In fact, I have Penix and Caleb back-to-back in my rankings. I don't think they should be valued that differently. I really don't. I don't think that's crazy to say. If you remember, when we were in Austin, we made a Dynasty video, and we were talking with Mason. He's probably not watching, but from obviously Flock Mason. And I said, you know, this might sound crazy at the time, but Penix could be valued around the 101 in the 2025 class because of how bad the rookie quarterback class is. And if you think about it
Yeah.
now, like if Michael Penix was in this class, I would personally have a higher scouting grade on Penix than the
Michael Penix
than the
this
quarterbacks
year, yeah.
available. So
No,
I don't
for
think it's
sure.
crazy to take him where you took him. I thought that actually probably pretty good value when you really think it through.
Yeah, and I think it was a good time to get a quarterback because you kind of saw a little quarterback run. The guy that I was talking about is still available technically. So, but you're on the clock here. What are you thinking at the turn?
I am on the clock here, and I don't honestly, I do not care if people think this is the wrong pick because he is such a glaring value in my opinion. Looking at the board, that's going to be Bucky Irving. We're going to grab Bucky Irving off the board. You know, if that feels like face value, like a shock to anyone out there, I just ask you to go look at Bijan Robinson's rookie season, and I'd also ask you to go look at Bucky Irving's rookie season. See what they did statistically, analytically, points per game basis. Bucky Irving, from week 12 onwards, after their bye week, was averaging over 18 points per game. He was the clear RB1 in that team. Rachaad White was reduced to like just this, you know, receiving back who at times would get worked into the rotation. So I'm thrilled to get Bucky here as my RB1. He's actually in my top 5 of my running back rankings. That's probably, you know, that might make people question me, but it's true. He's in my top 5. And then I really wanted T. Higgins, really wanted Rashee Rice with this next pick. Those guys aren't available. So I am going to take Devonta Smith.
Okay.
Barely. Buzzer beater. We're going to take
Barely.
Devonta Smith there as our wide receiver 2. You know, honestly, I do think I'm in a tier now that I don't love. So I'm not obsessed with taking Devonta Smith there, but when I was looking at the board, he seemed to be BPA for me.
James
Cook
Brother
comes off
James.
the board. Big fan of James as well. You know, someone had a question, by the way. Scribble says, who's y'all's tight end 3 if not Laporta? It's not so much, guys, you know, when we say that, I want to be very clear. It's not so much that Laporta isn't deserving of being the tight end 3. It's more, I'm not taking the tight end 3 this early in general. Like, if you're going to go tight end early, it's Bowers or McBride. Outside of that, I think, like, I probably will punt the tight end position until later rounds. That's really the opinion I have here. It's not that he's not worthy of it.
I think we just saw it flip, essentially, right? Think about last year, how tight ends were such a value. Or like if you had a tight end and you were getting a tight end in the 4th or 3rd round, you're like, wow, I can't believe I just got this guy here. Where now it's kind of, when I say flipped, I mean like it basically just went down 2 rounds, right? I think the expectation for tight ends because of last year, what we saw from Sam Laporta, what we saw from, I guess Travis Kelce had a down year, George Kittle, et cetera, all those guys. All the dudes that we drafted early just had a terrible year. It's outside of Brock Bowers and Trey McBride.
Yeah, for tight
And George
ends.
Kittle,
yeah.
if you think, and George Kittle, if you think about it, but like everyone
George
else
Kittle
had,
was a great pick. Yeah, it was funny because it felt like before the season, it's like, wow, tight ends are at such a discount in redraft leagues at least, and then they ended up being such terrible picks. It was
like think about it, like at the
hilarious.
time, like Kyle Pitts was probably going in the 5th, 6th round.
Yeah.
David Njoku was going like in 8+ rounds. Mark Andrews was going in the 4th.
Mhm.
Travis Kelce was going in the 4th. You know, all those guys was going there. So
Love the Bryce Young pick, by the way. We obviously, y'all know we were big fans of Bryce Young coming out, and we looked like clowns until recently when he started picking it up. Adjusted yards per attempt going through the roof since, you know, he's come back to be the starter, and turnovers are down, touchdowns per game are up, and he's doing it with probably the worst wide receiver core in the NFL. I think you could pretty easily say that. Roma Dunze also comes off the board there. Big fan of him. I think Dunze to me, and you know, we were buying Jason a lot on this channel last offseason, but Dunze to me is like the easiest buy low this offseason. It's not even close.
I think it might be difficult if Keenan Allen walks, but yes, I would agree. I think this is a great buy low option.
I love that.
This
I love
Chris
that
Olave.
pick.
And if you guys know me, if you guys were with us in the channel, in the redraft channel, I was so against Chris Olave this year. Didn't love the situation. Didn't love the quarterback play. they were taking him at the 2-3 turn. I just thought it was way too high.
Yeah.
Getting him here in the 5th round, this is what I've always thought of him to be, not because of his talent, but because of his situation. And I think it just gets better. Hopefully, if they do get a quarterback, or if they get a Kirk Cousins, they just got to get a mid quarterback and a new offensive coordinator, and we're chilling.
Yeah. We do have our next rookie coming off the board here, and I will say, admittedly, I would have taken this guy over Devonta Smith. I would have considered it. That's what I'll say. I would have considered this name over Devonta Smith had I realized that we were drafting rookies at the time. It kind of slipped my brain, but Luther Burden does come off the board here. To get him at the 5'8", I really love that value. What I will say is I'm not the biggest fan of building my team around the 2025 class here, which is what Team 8 is doing. But it could pan out. It could definitely pan out. But right now you're building primarily your team around the 2025 class. Do love Luther Burden. I do think I'm taking him over Olave, actually, thinking it through right now. But that could really depend on a lot of outside factors right now.
That's what I was going to say.
Free agency, the draft itself, draft capital.
100%.
A lot of things could change that.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I like Luther Burden. I love Chris Olave. And it is true. Like, where does Luther Burden go? Does he go in the first? Does he fall to the late second? Does he go to a team?
I think he's the first.
Yeah. Does he go to a team that's already stacked out wide receiver? Or, like, we always say we hate him going to the Lions. Do the Lions take a wide receiver? They shouldn't. But if he goes there, that would suck.
Yeah.
It just all depends on situation and what's going to be happening. Because once we have a landing spot for these guys, it's just going to skyrocket. All of these guys' value are going to skyrocket or plummet, just like we saw last year with a lot of these guys.
Yeah. So we see JJ off the board, Tua off the board. I'll be honest. Like, I think Tyreek Hill has a legitimate chance of being traded. I know they came out today and were like, things are okay. I don't really believe that. I think he has a legit chance of being moved. That makes me really question Tua. Just makes it more difficult when you don't have a name like Tyreek there. I do love the JJ McCarthy pick too. Jared Goff is honestly, that's actually kind of insane to get him that late.
That's who I was contemplating with Michael Penix. I had Jared Goff over Dak Prescott and technically Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Jared Goff is like the AJ Brown equivalent. Veteran who's incredible for fantasy. That's going to get disrespected.
That's why I was like, I'm not going to say it because I want to see how far he goes. And he goes nearly a whole round later.
I love the value. I really do.
So makes me feel like I should have taken somebody else there.
Yeah. Kevin had a good question here. And we'll try and interact with the chat as much as we can. Obviously, still staying tuned to the draft. Love the Zay Flowers pick there. But he shouldn't have been in the Pro Bowl. It should have been Brian Thomas. Anyway, would you right now trade away Chase Brown for Rome Odunze? Because clearly, if the Bengals don't address running back in the draft, you can make the case that Chase Brown might have more value. But if the Bengals draft the running back in the first 4 rounds, there might be competition.
That's
Chase Brown's the biggest what if this year. And there's been what ifs in the past. Dameon Pierce was a what if. Tyler Algier was a what if. You can go back historically. A lot of these late round rookie running backs or running backs in general that produce and then they lose their job. It happens. It always happens. Would you not say yes to this? Just the security of a Odunze first round pick, better prospect?
My thing is with Odunze, it's not that I don't think he's a better prospect. I just think he's a wide receiver too. So Are you getting... The problem is, do you hope that Chase Brown doesn't have competition and he's the RB1? Or do you take the chance that Rome Odunze is just going to be a Jordan Addison, a Devonta Smith? Well, I guess Devonta Smith is a good one, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, he's just a flexible wide receiver that has some of these boom bust games.
Okay.
Or do you get a Rashad White, Bucky Irving, or David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type of workload from Chase Brown? 50-50, 60-40. What does that look like for you? So I think that really depends on how you envision that happening. But I personally would think that I would just go Rome Odunze because I do believe the Bengals are going to draft a running back. Now, if the Bengals draft a running back that's in the 4th round, like what a Woody Marks or 3rd round, I'm not saying that they can't take opportunity away, but I'm not saying okay, they actually still believe in Chase Brown with not having the ability to take an Ashton Genty, having the ability to take an Amarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson. So like I think that changes my mindset a little bit depending on where they do draft a running back.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair take. I think I just lean on, you know, I believe he was an alpha prospect. As Caleb Johnson's going to come off the board here, that's a really nice value. I believe he was an alpha prospect, top 10 pick. I think he was worthy of it. I think he was worthy of being top 5. And he's just not gotten on the same page yet with that offense. But yeah, I probably would bet on a Dunze there. You went Josh Jacobs off the board. That's actually pretty damn good value too. Actually, thinking about that, you know, you and I try and value the running backs in the span of 2 years. So much can change, and
yeah.
it's silly to try and value running backs in the span of 4 or 5 years in Dynasty. You know, people want to try to do it. It's silly. So to get Jacobs there at the 6-7, I think that's actually one hell of a value for you.
Yeah, I'm loving Josh Jacobs, and I was a little bit hesitant because the whole Marshawn Lloyd 1 year out type of deal, but I guess, you know, Josh Jacobs, I mean, had over 300 attempts. He was top 6 running back this year. Yeah, he was doing his thing. He was killing it.
We got another rookie coming off the board here. We'll have to see exactly who that is. Shedeur Sanders. All right, so we do get our first rookie quarterback coming off the board. So he's taking
Shedeur Sanders over.
Yeah, what quarterbacks are available right now?
Anthony Richardson, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson.
No, that makes a lot of sense, I think.
Are you taking Shedeur over Anthony Richardson?
Hold on, I have to make my pick. I only have 30 seconds.
Sure.
You know, I know he's had a really bad year, but I think I'm going to take DK Metcalf here, almost in the 7th round. And has Waddle come off the board yet? Yeah, Waddle went up to
Waddle
3.
Waddle.
Did Addison go?
Yes.
Addison
6'5".
went. Terry went. You know, this probably is the wrong pick. I'll take Jerry Jeudy here. I mean, what if they can get a quarterback in there? If they take a quarterback at number 2 overall and Jerry's the number 1 wide receiver there, that could be really interesting in my opinion, but might have been too early. We'll have to wait and see. So what was the question? Sorry.
If you're taking Shedeur over Anthony Richardson. Because that's who's available right now, the quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Someone said Shedeur over Sam Darnold, which is great. I think it's Sam Darnold. I think it depends. Like, are you taking Sam Darnold in the New York Giants or Sam Darnold in the Vikings? Sam Darnold at the Raiders?
Right.
If he gets a contract, like, it just depends on where he's at, right? So
yeah,
I would say Sam Darnold with the long-term contract extension on the Vikings. Yes, I would be taking him over Shedeur.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm taking like a 2-year deal with the Raiders, Sam Darnold over Shedeur, or a 2-year deal with my Giants over Shedeur.
Look, if Darnold signs to the Vikings, I think you put him in the Baker Mayfield range. So
yeah,
pretty easily over Shedeur. To Bryce probably Dak. It's hard. That's a hard one to say but with the weapons he would have if they sign long term there. Yeah, I think you put him in the Baker Mayfield range. Value wise.
Let's go another running back here. Let's go Joe Bags.
So Joe Moneybags Mixon off the board. Joe, who helped me get into the Flock League playoffs and then abandoned me completely.
And then abandoned you.
Left me naked, dry, and hungry. But I do love you, Joe. Thanks for all you did for me.
I think this is the first year Joe Mixon finished like outside the top 10 or top 12 or something like that.
No, he finished well inside that.
Joe Mixon? No, he didn't. He finished as RB 17.
Oh, you're saying like finish, not points per game?
Sorry, yeah, I meant finish. I'm points per game. He was RB 8.
Yeah, 17.2.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, Mixon could be a huge value. No doubt about it.
but there goes Anthony Richardson. Goes
El
another.
Tigre says Kyron feels like the steal of the draft to him at the 604. Yeah, my rookie running back rankings are coming out soon. I have some concerns around Kyron's long-term outlook. So, who's coming off the board here for Xavier? Okay,
Mbuka.
so Emeka Egbuka is going to come off the board here. I'm a fan of Emeka for sure. I don't think this is crazy to take him this high. I don't think he's on the level as like a JSN prospect, which I think a lot of people are trying to compare him to, but I just don't think he's as good after the catch as JSN was. But I do really like Ibuka. I think he can be a really solid contributor. Think like Robert Woods type of contributor to an NFL roster. So Tet went off the board. Caleb, Shador went off the board, right? I'm trying to remember all the names.
Yeah, Burden, Caleb, Shador,
okay,
and Mika, and then there's another rookie that just went off.
Great value here. I'm kind of pissed I didn't draft that play. I keep not thinking about rookies when I'm on the board. Yeah, that's a great value. Travion Henderson coming off the board. I think you can rank him as high as RB2. I believe he's my RB4, right behind Caleb Johnson.
Oh, Marion.
But he is, yeah. I don't understand why people keep discounting Travion Henderson.
Trigger Trey.
Feels like the common trend is to say that he can't handle a workload and talk about his injuries, but I find that a little bit silly. Jaden Reed comes off the board, and so does Sam Darnold. And honestly, I really think Sam Darnold was the best value in round 7. He goes in round 8. I thought Sam Darnold was probably the pick I should have made at the 701. So for Darnold to land at the 801 to a team, by the way, I mean, let's look at this team that he landed to, which is Styles. Of course, Styles is drafting well in a startup. Who would have thought? Look at this. I mean, the guy doesn't draft a quarterback 2 until round 8, and he lands with Sam Darnold. Unreal. I mean, he's got a wide receiver core of Neighbors, McConkey, Flowers, Worthy, Reed. He's got Achan. That's a really well-built team there, I'd say. Really well-built team.
Let him cook, Let him cook. Damn, there's some crazy fall-offs on some players. It's kind of crazy. It's wild.
There's a lot of people talking about a certain name that hasn't been drafted yet that you and I were notoriously not high on. Okay, Cam Ward comes off the board. I don't think that's a crazy risk in round 8. I think that, that makes sense for sure.
Okay, so 2 back-to-back, Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe.
What?
True.
Jalen Milroe just went off the board?
Promise you he did.
Okay.
He said, give me the Heisman.
Well,
Travis.
I can't believe Jalen Milroe just went ahead of Travis Hunter. Okay. All right. Well, Jalen Milroe's off the board. What can I say about Jalen Milroe? I was going to compare him to Anthony Richardson, but the guy who drafted him already has Anthony Richardson. I don't know. I haven't studied the film in depth just yet, so I won't say anything damning right now. I don't think he's worthy of a first-round pick in the real NFL draft. He might be a second-round pick, and if you look historically, second-round picks are not good bets for quarterbacks in fantasy football. We also saw...
Sean. Go. Junkins.
Was it? Okay.
The 8-8.
Okay, so hold on. We saw Travis Hunter come off the board. That's who I need to add.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's all happening fast here. And then you said Judkins?
Yeah, oh, Chuba Hubbard. That's good.
That's what I was going to say. How is he still on the board?
That's crazy. Chuba nice right there for sure.
Uh-huh. Great value. So you said Judkins was drafted?
Yeah, 8-8.
Okay, so Quinshon Judkins comes off the board there.
Slime Charles. Out of curiosity, why do you think Keon Coleman will be great next year? What leads you to believe that? Out of curiosity.
It doesn't mean it's the wrong opinion, by the way.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the wrong opinion. I want you to convince me. You know, like I want to know why. I like Monty too. I had him on my queue.
Yeah, Monty's a nice pick there. I am going to go ahead and grab a veteran running back here, and his name is Derrick Henry. My RB 18 in my rankings. We'll grab him there off the board. And then we will...
Then going crazy.
Then we will grab our guy. We'll show some love to our boy, Jalen McMillan. Welcome home, Jalen McMillan. If you know this channel, if you were watching last year, my favorite player in the entire class. It's been really fun to see him blossom into the player he is today. Yeah, do we have an answer from Slim here?
No, someone did say, which was Prime's 500 plus yards and 4 touchdowns despite missing 4 games is far better rookie season than Keon Coleman detractors predicted. Detractors predicted. So like,
I mean, sorry, 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hold on, are we really saying that? Okay.
I'm trying to think of somebody who.
If you want to look at the historical comps to that, you are really not going to be happy. I mean, that's almost Quentin Johnston level season.
I was literally about to say, literally Quentin Johnston had that in his rookie season.
And if you look at a per game basis, it's better, but if that's the argument, that's a little silly to use.
I wanted Chris Godwin there. Forgotten. A lot of people forgotten nowadays.
Godwin's nice, yeah. I like that. Slim says, I just believe in his ability, plus we string rookies along very slowly. I expect his usage to increase next year with Josh throwing to him. Slim, I love the idea, and you could be right. But we all said that about a first-round pick from the Buffalo Bills. His name was Dalton Kincaid. It did not work out that way, but you could be right.
I have no idea. I'm just going to take Travis Etienne. And look, yeah, I don't know.
He missed 4 games. Yes, he missed time. We're all aware, but 500 yards across a 13-game season. What is that per game? 38 yards per game. All right, let's stop talking bullshit here. Okay, guys, let's get on the same page. You want to talk about missed games and all this and that. All right, whatever. 38 yards per game.
$38 yards per game.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's true. Slime is a Bills fan, which is not, this is always a little bias there, which is okay. I have a lot of bias as a Giants fan. I think one of the biggest indications was that they traded for Amari Cooper, who, by the way, didn't do anything for the Bills. But the fact that they needed to go out and trade for another wide receiver, in my opinion, was like, okay, we need help because our guy is.
Well, it was funny because when they made that trade, they started to really let Keon cook, and then he got injured. So I can see the validity of what people are trying to say, but. Mm-hmm. It's a toughie. All right, we got another reach here at quarterback. I'm sorry, I'm going to call this one out. Jackson Dart comes off the board. I don't have the graphic for Jackson Dart here. I'm sorry, Xavier. But Xavier drafted Jackson Dart. I think we are seeing a lot of reaches right now with this rookie class. There's a huge value, though, from the rookie class as Colson Loveland comes off the board. That was going to be my next pick. Look, I don't hate Jackson Dart. Yeah, Jackson Dart's fine. I think there's a lot of people in the Dynasty space who watched the bowl game and decided he's a first-round pick. There's a lot of other film we should watch before we make that conclusion. But yeah. Again, I don't have access to a graphic with Jackson Dart, but he would be there at the 809. Crazy that Tyrone Tracy's on the board, and we're taking Jackson Dart ahead of him. That's kind of mind-boggling to me.
Shout out to Tyrone Tracy, huh?
Yeah, shout out to him. All right, we do have, by the way, I just realized we didn't talk about this, but El Tigre's been a member for 31 months. Shout out to you, brother.
Hey,
and he says, me having drafted Daniels with the 107 in my home Dynasty League, dab on him. How about those Chiefs? I mean, you got the double dip there. You can celebrate the 1 seed and drafting Jaden Daniels.
I just remember El Tigre sending a picture in the league that we're in, and he was like, "That's me in the Justin Ross." It's not Justin Ross. Is Justin Ross jersey? What's his name?
Mm-hmm. No, you're right, Justin Ross. Yeah.
I just thought that was hilarious. That always takes me back to that.
Well, there was a huge Justin Ross hive, and
El Tigre, I think, was the leader of that.
He was the leader of it, and we always tried to talk them off the ledge, but they wouldn't listen. All right, Trey Harris comes off the board next. Trey Harris has a huge, wide range of outcomes as a player. Athletically, very gifted size speed combo, but certainly a lot of flaws that he needs to work on. Can become a great player, though. There's no doubt about that. There goes Stephon Diggs off the board. He could definitely end up being a huge value here with the amount of people. I'm not going to say like reaching on players, but we're all kind of feeling ourselves right now with these rookies.
You just gotta, sometimes you just gotta take a swing. I want to look back on this one, since this is the first one. And then look at it next year and be like, oh, damn, that was a reach. Just us roasting everyone.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know, because our opinions would have changed in the coming months. And be like, oh, okay, that's not a reach because of his draft count. If Jackson Dart goes in the first round, you're like, okay, maybe that's not a reach, right? But we don't say that because kind of wild right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Kyle Pitts comes off the board. I mean, I really wanted to grab Loveland here. That's not an option anymore. We're going to grab a running back that we are obsessed with that I know no one else is. So maybe we're taking him a little bit too early here. But we are going to grab Woody Marks here. Big fan of Woody Marks. Shocked by the amount of hate Woody Marks is currently getting from the community. I think like almost 300 career receptions. He had a season where he had over 88 receptions before with Mississippi State. I'm a big fan of his game. I think he's kind of giving you exactly what you want in the modern day running back. I think he's a perfect fit for today's NFL, and I'll take him off the board there. And then I'll also go ahead and give some love to one of my favorite wide receivers, who, unfortunately, not to get too real, but lost his brother in one of those attacks recently. But
what's actually his brother?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to grab Jack Besh here, one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. And I'm going to show him some love here with this pick. Shout out to him, his family. They're obviously never going to watch this, but wish them well. Tough situation to lose your brother, who himself was a great player at Princeton, I believe it was. But yeah, we're going to make that pick there.
Jalen Royals.
Damn it.
Oh.
I should have taken Jalen Royals. That was my actually higher ranked player, but I wanted to show Jack some love. I thought maybe I could get Royals on the comeback. That's what she said. But love Jalen Royals. Big fan of him.
Big fan.
Shout out to Kim K.
Big supporter of the show.
Let's make next round equals last round. What was the next player? So we had, okay, Cam Scattaboo comes off the board.
Scatterboot. Scatter who?
Scatter what? I like Cam. You know, I think he has a range of getting into the top 5 of this class, depending on draft capital. Great player. When I watched him, I compared him a bunch to David Montgomery, actually. He reminds me a lot of David Montgomery. Big fan of his game. And we'll see what the draft capital is going to end up looking like. As Mooney comes off the board and Kelsey, and we got another rookie here from Xavier, Alec Manor. Xavier's building this team around the 25 class. I do hope it works out for you.
You love to see it.
This feels like a team that you build for fun in a mock draft, but you wouldn't build in real time. With Alec and Cam and Jackson Dart, which is the other pick. I could be wrong, actually. I'll be honest. I don't understand the Jalen Milroe pick.
The Giants quarterback? Come on. In the second round, get Travis Hunter and then Jalen?
We also have Nick Singleton and Fannin coming off the board here. So Nick Singleton comes off the board. Where is he? Here he is. You know, up and down season, to be honest. Up and down film, honestly, as well. But in the college football playoffs, he's been a star. So I think that makes a lot of sense to make that pick there. Then Harold Fannin, who, you know, ridiculous numbers in college football this year, broke some records, is a great route runner, is really a wide receiver playing the tight end position. Great hands, really fun player. But yeah, I don't know what it means for draft capital yet. Evan Ingram comes off the board. We have another rookie, and that is Dylan Sampson. You know, this running back class, man, you can go 20 deep and find a name that you believe can make an impact in the NFL. And Dylan is definitely one of those names. Really big fan of him. Ridiculous production with Tennessee this year. A little bit undersized, if I remember properly. I might not be remembering that properly, but yeah, big fan of that pick there.
Got another one. A couple rookies coming off now. DJ Giddens.
Damn it.
At the 12-8. And then you got another one. Let's see.
Love me some DJ Giddens. Huge fan of his game. Don't know why he's not getting more respect in the class.
Harold Fannin went. Packet.
Who else? Who are these other rookies coming off the board? Harold's already gone.
Yeah, Harold's already gone. Packet.
So someone just took Isaiah Bond.
Doesn't matter. It's the last round anyway.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Isaiah Bond comes off the board. Harold Fannin's already gone, so let us know if there's a different player you'd like to take there. Aaron Jones comes off the board. Love Isaiah Bond, by the way, but obviously the production is shockingly bad. Pacheco, pretty good value. You know, people are pointing out that Pacheco value right there. A player I admittedly have some concerns on, but I would say I would agree with the overall consensus that it's a good value at that pick. I understand people's concerns, but I also understand how that's a value there too.
What's Pacheco on right now?
They put him at 1203.
Sorry, I meant to say. I don't know why I said that. What's his con? Is this last year? Yeah, 2025.
I think it's one more year in 25, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 25 is this last year, so that's interesting. That's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, I agree. With the last pick, do I go rookie?
Yeah, you don't have a tight end.
Oh yeah, I'll go. I would probably just keep pushing tight end down the board if it was a real draft. I will grab one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. Last year in the 2024 wide receiver rookie class, only Malik Neighbors had a higher yards per route run than Tez Johnson. I'm going to grab Tez here. Phenomenal last 2 years at Oregon, and huge fan of his game. I think he fits the modern day NFL. I don't care about him being 165 pounds. It's the same way, you know, we stopped caring about size a while ago with some of these names like your Zay Flowers and, you know, your Tank Dells and Tutus, and these guys can make an impact in the NFL for sure. But that is going to be the last pick. Let's go ahead and I'll pick a kicker and then we'll call it here. Obviously, like the ADP on Sleeper right now is horrendous. I think we can all.
It was better than what it was. But yes, it is still bad.
Okay, so by the way, Pack It Up said he wanted to grab Ollie Gordon with that last pick instead. I don't have anything positive to say, but Ollie Gordon does come off the board. And I do think maybe people got a little too rookie hyped. Yeah, again, I keep picking on Jalen Milroe, but that feels way too high. Any other names? I mean, I don't think anything else feels crazy out of pocket, but I just think we let a lot of good, valuable names fall down the board.
And that always happens.
That always happens.
The first mock of the year, of the new year, essentially, trying to find reevaluating these players, and you know, I think a lot of people are driven by the ADP. So once the ADP is correct from Sleeper, they'll feel a little bit more. Yeah, this would feel a little bit better.
I agree. Honestly, by the way, like if you do want to get into a startup draft, you know, this is actually a very good time. Brizzleton said it in the chat, but I agree. I was going to say the same thing. Like, if you want to do a startup draft, right now is a fantastic time to do it because you can find ridiculous values way down the board because of how high people draft rookies without even knowing their draft capital. So yeah, I agree. It's a fantastic time to be taking advantage of that in real Dynasty startup drafts. Guys, we appreciate you big time. Do us a favor, smash that like button to show some love on today's stream. Our like goal was 100. We're already at 147, so we've already smashed it out of the park.
Come on, baby, talk it up.
Big shout out to you guys. I mean, I guess we set a like goal of what, 170 or something? I'm not really sure, but we do appreciate you guys big time for being here. We are going to switch things up now, all right? We said this was a two-part stream. The first part was the startup draft. The second part is doing these Dynasty playbooks / team reviews, and that is where we're going to now kind of switch focus to. And if you don't know what we're talking about, then I will get you up to date here. So, for example, for Daniel, Penix, Envy, Joshua, Gaddy, all these people here, they have decided that they want us to review their team. And there are two ways that you can get your Dynasty team reviewed. All right, the first way is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. And when you decide to become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND, you get our 2025 Dynasty Rookie Report. Version 1 is already out. On the website, you can see that right here. Version 1 is already out, and we're already working on version 2. A whole bunch of new features are going to be coming in. Profiles for every single player, rankings. We'll add the historical hit rate data here in V2. A whole bunch of great features that Badaki and I have been working on the back scene. You get the rookie report. You also get access to a Dynasty playbook. All right, a playbook which is specifically designed and orchestrated around your team. It's not generalized advice. It's specific advice directly for your team, giving you a pathway of how you move forward, telling you the positional priorities in your league and how that should impact the moves that you make, your untouchables, specific trade targets for your team, talking about your draft capital and how to use it wisely. All that is available when you become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. And of course, you get access to all the incredible premium tools on the website, the rankings. The value has never been higher. Honestly, we should charge more for a yearly membership, but we're not going to. But the value's never been higher. You've never had more bang for your buck at this point. Now, that is one way to get your playbook. All right. And if you become a yearly member, you can just pay the $10 extra to get the live version of the playbook. Otherwise, you'll get like the offline version. Now, if you want the playbook and you're already a member on a different code on the site, or you don't want to become a member, the other option is going to the a la carte store. I'll put that link in the chat for you here now, and just purchasing a playbook. All right. Let's walk you guys through that real quick for anybody who's curious. But basically, that link will take you to our website. Okay, and then you go to the team review section. Hopefully, you've already linked up your team. If you haven't created a free account, you can do that with the promo code LAND. But once I select my team, it'll automatically include my settings. I make sure and click my actual team so it loads up. Make sure my rookie draft picks are correct. Add if there's not any that aren't there. Go to the next page. You see Zach and Badaki here. The standard playbook is the offline version. All you have to do is pay $10 more to get the live team playbook. And of course, if you're a member, the prices are discounted as well. But we appreciate you guys big time. We are going to transition into doing those reviews now. Badaki, who is the first name for today?
Daniel Sarcoso.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, not his Sakura. So let me know when you're ready, and I'll go ahead and get that. We already have that chalkboard ready for him. We're going to fill out this playbook for him, and he will be getting that within 48 to 72 hours. Obviously, we've been backed up, come back from the first week. Been grinding out some of these playbooks out yesterday. Yeah. But I'll try to get this out to you guys as soon as possible, since I'm the one handling those things. But
let's get straight to it, shall we? So go ahead and read the context here for Daniel.
Yeah, so this is a 2 quarterback. So Superflex 10 teams start 11, which is great.
Wow. Okay.
Our bench is 15 players deep, but we also have 3 IR spots and 4 potential taxi squad spots. Rookies can be placed there for up to 2 years. Also, I'm in talks to acquire the 101 for Marv to select Genty.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting here. And
so, first things first, by the way, the starting lineup. This is as big as it gets. Start 11. It really doesn't get bigger than that. You're in a 10 team, so it makes sense. You know, if you're in a smaller Dynasty league or 8 or 10 team league, you might want to make the lineups a little bit bigger to make it fun. But you have 5 flex spots with this format, or you have 3 starting wide receivers and 4 flex spots. Either way, you can start up to 7 wide receivers or 7 running backs. You can view it either way.
This is start 11, by the way, right?
Yeah.
So start 11 is rolling deep.
That is, depth is king. But actually, you're right. Rolling deep.
Superflex.
It's Superflex. My bad.
Right. Yeah,
so Superflex, you're right. That is rolling deep. So you can start up to 6 wide receivers or 6 running backs. So
yeah,
big starting lineup. Depth is definitely important, and let's keep that in mind as we look at this team. His team name is Deshaun's legal team, and unfortunately, you guys all should be fired. All right, Deshaun's legal team should all be fired because we all know by now. Okay, no, all jokes aside, let's have a look at this team. Go ahead, Superflex 10 team PPR start 11.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, and I think your QB2 is where you fall off. Justin Herbert, I think phenomenal value if you were trading for him last year. I think he did phenomenal this year, and it's only going to get better if he gets more weapons here. But finding that QB2 is going to be crucial coming into the 2025 season. But at the running back position, really big league here, so keep that in mind. Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Monty, Jonathan Brooks, Jalen Warren, and the list kind of goes on there. I feel like the top 3 are guys you can be starting. I think there's interesting things that could happen if Najee does walk and they don't draft a running back. Is Jalen Warren the new RB1 there? Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL again in the end of the season, which means he's kind of going to be completely irrelevant for the 2025 season. So in reality, you just have Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, and Monty there.
And I will say, like, in this format, by the way, like names like Warren and Chubb kind of matter a little bit, not much, 100%. But they kind of matter with the depth here. But onto wide receivers, great room here.
Nico Collins, Drake London, Martin Harrison, AJ Brown, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley, Beatty City, and the list goes on. And
then the tight end room is about as stacked as it can possibly get. I mean, is there any tight end premium in this? Doesn't say there is.
Doesn't say there is. But I mean, this is great because you can start Brock Bowers in the tight end position, then Trey McBride in the flex. So you're not really putting too much weight On your wide receiver room, you can start 2 tight ends. I mean, Trey McBride probably did really great. Finished as tight end 4. Brock Bowers tight end 1. So this was great for you coming into this year.
That's
for sure.
Yeah, pretty nice squad you have there. I think quarterback 2 seems to be, in our opinion, I think I would agree with you that it is the biggest eyesore on the squad. I'm just going to double check. It looks like it is a tight end premium, by the way. But it looks like it's just 1+ on KTC, which means it is like a 0.5 probably tight end premium. So that makes that tight end room even more impressive. It's a great team we have here. No first round pick in 25, and I don't see one in 2026. So that is something we have to keep in mind. But right now, your starting lineup is probably Justin Herbert, and it's one of Aaron Rodgers or Watson. After that, you've got Brees and Jacobs that you'd probably start. You'd start Nico and London. You'd start Bowers. And then we would need 4 flex spots, which probably consist of David Montgomery, A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison, and Trey McBride. That's a great lineup. Outside of quarterback, too. That's really your weak spot, but that's a great lineup. Considering the draft capital grade, which I'd probably give a D+. It's not very good draft capital. I would say this is probably a B+ team.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Maybe A- if you figure out quarterback 2.
Quarterback, yeah, 100%.
So we have a very clear goal heading into this review, and that is fix quarterback 2. Now, outside of the players we mentioned, you have Evan Ingram, which is a movable piece, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley. But I believe I'd like to keep that depth, and I'd like to try and address it with the second round picks that we have. And I will also add on to this by saying I don't think I love the idea of, I don't know, would you rather have Marvin or Genty right now? It's really a question of belief of conviction of these players rather than...
Look, I would say this.
I'd love to pull the chat as well, because I think the answer is Genty, honestly.
That's for me, it is Genty. The way I was going to approach it was that what is your prediction of Marvin and or Genty being valued multiple first round? Right now, Marvin Harrison, if you were to try and sell him, you could probably only get 1 first round pick. When in reality, you should get multiple. Genty, with him not even stepping onto the field, you probably have to pay multiple first round picks.
He's already going to be like a tier 1 guy when he enters where Bijan and Gibbs are.
Exactly. So like I would rather have Ashton Genty.
I think you're
personally.
Right. I think that's a no-brainer decision is to go Genty.
100%.
So that's the first thing that we would suggest is trading Marvin Harrison for the 101, which is going to be Ashton Genty. You know, you mentioned it in your team review, and we would go ahead and say, yes, we're happy to do that. And look, we could regret that, but I think we've seen enough to adjust expectations. You can see in my rankings, I have Marvin as my wide receiver 11. I would probably put Genty at worst RB3 coming into the Dynasty rookie rankings this year. So that is a more valuable player in my opinion. So, again, the needs don't change. We just put Monty in the flex or Jacobs in the flex or Brees in the flex. The needs don't change. It's still quarterback 2 that we need to resolve. I will say, your untouchables, definitely Brock Bowers. There's no doubt about that. And I would probably add Nico Collins to that. I don't understand why people aren't valuing Nico Collins similarly to how they value CeeDee Lamb. Like, I get it. I get it because it's different names and stuff. But, you know, we don't like CJ Stroud for fantasy, but we love him for what he does for Nico Collins. So I would put those 2 as your untouchables. I don't want to tear down from Nico, you know. As far as drops, I mean, there's a lot of drops that you could. I mean, Ryan Flournoy, easy drop. I would also add, like, Rasheen Ali as an easy drop here. We only need 2. At this moment,
we need another hold, or maybe 4 holds Well, what we can do is put 4 drops and then just 2 hold players.
I think Godwin is a hold. Um,
Yep.
because he's not valuable anyway. I also think that I would label AJ Brown a hold because I want to compete right now, and there's no reason to sell either of these veterans. I think
Okay, so sorry, my keyboard just died.
that's okay.
It's been a while since that happened. So Chris Godwin and then AJ Brown are holds, and then we need 2 more drops.
Yeah, and
So
I
we have
I definitely agree
Ryan
that
Thorin.
with the chat here that it would not shock any of us if Mar breaks out next year. It wouldn't shock any of us, but yeah. So we talked about the holds, AJ and Chris. I would say, your drops. We talked about Rasheen Ali, Ryan Flournoy. I'd also add, I mean, let's be honest. Khalil Herbert's not a long-term name that we need to really care about too much.
One more. Then I'll probably just put either Keaton Mitchell or probably another one of these running backs. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm fine to drop Keaton or Justice. I think Keaton I'd like to hold, and Justice. Let's do
Sincere, maybe.
Yeah, I like him, but they're gonna draft the running back.
Yeah.
All right, let's think of some ideas for this team. Okay. So let's think of some. Ideally, what I would like to do, main goal, is to fix quarterback 2 through second rounders. Okay, so we need to find, these quarterbacks that we can attach maybe a player to, or just on their own, we can send a couple seconds for.
Yeah, I agree.
And the names that come to mind, let's have a look.
Well, I'll throw some names if you want. I think of. Look, maybe these names don't fix the situation, but maybe they put a Band-Aid on it. Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield.
I don't think you're getting most of these guys for a second. I think you have to go lower than that, like Geno Smith.
Okay.
Stafford.
Okay.
I think no one's going to give you Baker for less
not
than
for seconds. Sure.
Yeah, Sam maybe. I don't think Baker's realistic though. I mean, you could also go the route of like a JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. Let's see.
JJ, you could try Tua. I think people will be very, very shy on Tua right now.
I think we need to. Ever since Tyreek said he's gone, I think they're just gonna get a fast wide receiver. Where did the Dolphins pick this year?
That's a good question, but it'd be really fun to see Luther Burden.
That's what I was gonna say. In Luther Burden, I mean, they have the 13th pick. Is he a top 15 pick, you think, in the NFL draft?
I think he's top 25. Think JSN range.
Sure. That's interesting. I think if they're not going to be prioritizing anything else on the defense and they want more weapons and Tyreek's gone, maybe Miami gets a wide receiver in this draft.
Yeah. I also I would also just throw this out there as well. Quarterbacks I would stash, include Joe Milton if he's available, include Malik Willis if he's available, and include what was his name?
Mac Jones, maybe?
No, Jordan Travis. These are quarterbacks I would stash because Jordan Travis, I could see like a Sam Howell situation for New York if they move on from Aaron Rodgers.
Sure, okay.
But yeah, so
just give me a sec. You go ahead. I just gotta use the bathroom.
Yeah, that's fine. Main goal again. So these are our targets here. So let's find a team that would be willing to get rid of one of these names. For example, probably the easiest way to do this is go by quarterback strength, and this is actually perfect. I'm glad we did this. I love that we have this feature. But yeah, this is perfect. I mean, look at this guy. He's got Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold. One of Sam Darnold or Bryce Young is going to join our team. So, can you get Sam Darnold? I mean, look, KTC is not perfect, but I just want to get like a general range. I don't know. Where do people rank Darnold right now? Quarterback 23? That seems low. Would 2 mid-seconds get us there? It will get us close. Okay. I think that's the range we're going to have to pay. And I think we only do Sam Darnold if we get some sort of indication that he's going to stay in Minnesota long term. Because if he goes to, you know, the Raiders or something, I think we need to reassess his value. But I would pay the 2 seconds easily for Bryce Young. I don't think anyone's going to give you him for 2 seconds now. I would pay 2 seconds for Tua Tags. I'd also pay that same for J.J. McCarthy. I'd also do that for Trevor Lawrence. So you got a good range of quarterbacks here as options. And the one player that I think I would send 1 second for would be a Geno Smith. You know, if you look at the strength of this upcoming class, it's not quarterback. The Seahawks have no reason to get rid of Geno Smith. There's no reason to do that. It doesn't make any sense. But let's just say, for example, you land, let's say Tua. That might be the most realistic. In order, I prefer like Bryce, Sam, JJ over the rest. But let's say you get Tua here. Then that's going to just really help your current needs. You know, looking at your team as a whole, Justin Herbert, Tua Tags. Okay, then your lineup is Herbert, Tua, Genty, Jacobs, Nico, London, Bowers, and then you're going to flex Brees, Monty, A.J. Brown, Trey McBride, or A.J. Brown, Godwin, or A.J. Brown. You know, you've got a lot of flexibility there. That is 100% a team that's going to go out there and compete and have a chance to win it all. So I really think that is the main thing you need to fix. That would be my main goal. Fix quarterback 2 through those second round picks. You don't have much draft capital to play around with outside of this. So again, these 2 seconds, you have no first in 25. You have no first in 2026. You know, Calvin Ridley is not a player you can sell. You might as well hold him. They have the number 1 overall pick. I don't like Cam Ward, but what if Cam Ward's good? What if they get Shedeur Sanders? You know, Calvin Ridley's a strong hold right now. So is Chris Godwin. We're not going to sell A.J. Brown. He's another strong hold. We want to build around these wide receivers. I don't even see a need to sell Trey McBride, honestly. I mean, in a tight end premium, you might be able to sell Evan Ingram for a second if you want more gunpowder in there to go out and get a deal. You know, you could try that. In a tight end premium, in a tight end premium, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense to potentially get that return. Here's what I'll say: if you can't trade for a quarterback, my next little ranges of outcome here is, like I said, I would stash these names that we talked about. Okay. But then I also would consider your 2025 seconds. Look, it depends on the draft capital. If we're saying like Jalen Hurts range, I don't see the harm in taking a shot on a Jalen Milroe. I really don't think it's going to be worth it, but we'll just assess from the draft on. You could add Jackson Dart into there. Huh? Yeah, if Jalen Milroe joins the Giants, you definitely shouldn't draft him. But I think this is your main game plan moving forward this offseason. Really, like you should feel fantastic about your team. We gave you a B plus. If you land, like my favorite trade here is Bryce Young, the JJ McCarthy move I love. Obviously the Marvin Harrison Jr. move we love. I don't mind getting Geno Smith for a second. But you land one of these quarterbacks, you really have every other position figured out, especially if you make that trade like we mentioned for Ashton Genty, which you mentioned in your own review.
Yeah.
Fantastic team, man. You should feel very good about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great team. Yeah, I obviously I was waiting for Zach giving you all those suggestions, but 225 seconds means he had 2 seconds, which is great. Start off, get Bryce Young. That was kind of my favorite. That's what I was wanting to target. So that's phenomenal. Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Really good team. Easy, clear path towards putting us in a position to win next year. Really, really easy path. And, again, we haven't really talked about the pathways yet. I think for your team, you're a contender for sure.
Yeah, no question.
You're not a Thanos. You can't be a Thanos with that quarterback room, but strong contender. Agreed?
Yeah, I completely agree. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. David Milroe going to the Giants would be the best landing spot for him.
I think it'd be good.
I just want change. I don't care who. I don't care if it's Jalen Milroe in the 4th and he's a starting quarterback. Give me somebody. Anyways, appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you so much for the support, man. Honestly,
yeah, big time. Appreciate you. And by the way, your playbook will be sent to you within 24 to 72 hours. So you'll have your playbook specifically designed for your team with everything we talked about today, specifically, dedicated exactly to your team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to this next team.
Yeah, Penix Envy.
Let's go to next. Joshua first. Reason being is I need to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to let you start us off here. And what I'll do is I'll put his team up so you can talk about it. His team is Show Me Your TDs. So let's start with Joshua there. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Sure. All right. Joshua, appreciate you. Thank you so much for being patient. He said, I'm right here with you on that one. Okay, yeah. Wyatt said Justin Fields to the Giants. Hey, once again, I just need something different. I can't have Tommy Cutlets or somebody else there, right? Anyways, let's break this down here for Joshua, who is next. He says trying to figure out what to do for the next season, missing the playoffs by 1 game, and Olave and Ayuk were hurt, which is unlucky. Feel like my quarterback and wide receivers are strong, but my running backs could get better. Would be curious to think what you guys think I should do and what moves to make. I love watching your videos, and I'm a big fan. Hey, huge love. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. So Show Me Your TDs is your team name, and it does look like you have a Thanos on your team, which let's see why he's a Thanos. Okay. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first rounds, and it looks like he has one of your first round picks in 2025, which is already frustrating when you look at teams like this, because they just take over. They have a monopoly somehow, some way over your league. But all right, Show Me Your TDs. Looks like you are 2nd in the league here out of a 12-man league. And keep in mind, guys, I am filling this out as I am going, just to make sure that we have everything right. And this is a 1 quarterback, 12 team start 8. So a start 8 is just meat and potatoes, just your classic starting lineup, knowing exactly what you'll be getting out of this lineup is 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, and 2 flex. Nothing special, nothing crazy, keeping it straight and simple with that starting lineup here, which is great. All right. So looking at your team here at the quarterback position, Kyler Murray, JJ McCarthy, and Russell Wilson. I think that's a decent quarterback room, no doubt about it. At the running back position here, you have Saquon Barkley, Tyrone Tracy, Javonte Williams, Jalen Wright, and the list kind of falls off there. So Saquon and Tyrone are good. Obviously, your RB2 is not the strongest. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan. I think Tyrone Tracy is going to be the lead back going into 25. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they bring in somebody else, even though I know they have Devin Singletary. But Saquon Barkley, I'm not looking at the right team. Oh, I'm not. CD's nuts. You're right. Show me your TDs. Excuse me. Thank you. That's my fault. All right, Jaden Daniels, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, and Trevor Lawrence. Once again, at the quarterback position, still pretty good there, with especially having Bryce Young and Sam Darnold. Maybe we can use one of these quarterbacks and sell them to a quarterback needy team, because you have 4 starting quarterbacks right now. It looks like Jahmyr Gibbs, CMC, David Montgomery. So you have the running backs, the Lions running backs here. But this is a strong running back group, no doubt about it. So I do like this team, or I like this running back room. And at the wide receiver position, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Adams, Kyle Ridley, and Amari Cooper. So once again, you could start up to 4 wide receivers. So Nico, Wilson, Olave, and Brandon Ayuk are your starting 4 wide receivers, with some good depth there in George Kittle. And now your draft capital, you only have one. You only have one 2026 third round. So you have no draft capital essentially, which is not okay. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not sure how we can move on or do something, but at the same time, this is a really good team. I mean, you have a solid quarterback room in Dane Daniels and Bryce Young, Jahmyr Gibbs with CMC and David Montgomery, and then obviously this really good wide receiver room from Nico Collins all the way down to even to Calvin Ridley, who was a little bit up and down this year, but gave you some really startable games. So I think this is a decent team, no doubt about it. Draft capital, honestly, like, I don't think we've ever given an F draft capital, but I feel like that is our first F grade for the draft capital, because you don't have anything.
I'm
and
back.
It's not to be harsh.
Sorry,
that's
about
fine. And it's not to be harsh to you. It's just you don't have anything. I'm just talking about the draft capital, literally only having a 3rd round pick in 26 and not having anything.
Yeah, I mean that's a straight F.
We've never seen an F before, but that is an F there for sure. And the overall team grade here for me, I think this is.
By the way, that's just for your draft capital. That's not your overall team grade.
Yeah,
but
not your overall team grade, but the overall team grade, I'll give this team an A-, A flat maybe.
I don't think it's A territory.
You don't think so? Okay, what are you thinking?
I have to consider that there is literally no future draft capital to improve this team.
Sure. Okay, so considering with that, yeah, you're right.
The wide receiver 3 and 4 should be good, but there are question marks. However, I think this is B+ range.
Okay, this is B+, sure.
Because, look, if he had all of his 1st round picks and just regular picks, it'd be an A for sure. But
yeah.
Also, the quarterbacks just don't matter in a 1 quarterback outside of Jaden. So it's not like we can really value Young, Darnold, or Trevor that much, I think, as well. But anyway, look, like you said, Badaki, meat and potatoes, start 8. Depth isn't that important. If we look at his starting lineup right now, it's Daniels, it's Gibbs, McCaffrey, it's Nico, Wilson, it's Kittle, and then we have 2 flex spots, which can be either Montgomery and or Olave, Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Adams. So pretty good team. You don't really have any obvious sells. Like Olave is more of a buy. Same with Ayuk right now. I actually think McCaffrey is one of the best buys for a contending team as well, so I wouldn't suggest to do that. I would definitely say like Jaden Daniels and Jahmyr Gibbs are your untouchables. I would be holding on Olave. I'd be holding on Ayuk. Wouldn't move them right now. I think they're strong holds. I mean, think about it. If the Browns draft Shedeur Sanders, they have the number 2 overall pick. They can do whatever they want. if they draft Sanders or if it's Ward or whatever, and that quarterback is good, they're not going to be able to draft an alpha wide receiver in this class. Jerry's going to have another full season as the number one on this team. And it was awesome to see him break out. And as far as drops, there's not really any drop on this team.
There's no drop.
I wouldn't consider dropping any of these names. Look.
Yeah, I'm just going to put whole Jerry Jeudy as well.
Okay. There is really no move to make here.
No, there isn't. I'm also going to put hold.
Sometimes we do reviews, and the best thing for the person who purchased the review and is actually wanting solid advice is to tell you you are kind of set right now. Okay, so here's the moves you can make. You could sell Jaden Daniels. Why the hell would we want to do that? In a one quarterback league, you want an impact name like that. You could sell Jahmyr Gibbs. Why would we sell Jahmyr Gibbs? No point in doing that, especially in a lineup that is only start 8. You could sell Christian McCaffrey. If you want to do that, you should have done it before the season because right now he's undervalued. Same with David Montgomery.
Yeah.
We could, if you wanted to sell Garrett Wilson, you should have done that before the season and tear down. Same with Chris Olave. Ayuk is undervalued. Jerry Jeudy is very likely to be the number one alpha on this team again next year. If you want to sell him, it makes more sense to me to do it in season when he's producing.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. You know, if you want to sell anyone or try and get value out of somebody, it has to be within the season. Like, my first instinct is to go sell CMC. I don't believe CMC is going to come back and be the guy anymore. Not that. Let me rephrase that. I don't think CMC is going to come back and be the old CMC that we hope and love. I think he's not going to be the 23+ point per game type of guy, in my opinion. I just don't think that, personally. I think he's going to have a big downfall, and he's probably going to be taken in startups or in redrafts where he should be valued. I would rather try and pivot, but this is not the time to pivot off of CMC. So it's more at the right time. Maybe there's a 49ers fan in your league. Try and sell him high. I doubt you can get a first, but can you pivot to another young running back? Can you pivot to, the Kyron Williams or to whoever the case may be, the Breece Halls, if you really could, because he may people feel really valued about him, or Bucky Irving, hell, maybe somebody
you
would
can't
take a
get
chance.
Bucky for CMC now.
I know, but
Look,
just in general, throwing out names just to say, you know what can we pivot to at the time?
Right now, CMC is the RB15 on KTC. I believe we have a different opinion of expectations next year. I kind of view the offense, and I look at it, and CMC was the engine. It was so obvious that they missed him, that they did not have him. And if Derrick Henry at 31 years old is valued at the RB13, which I don't think is crazy, McCaffrey at the RB15 is the steal of the century. He's 1 year older than David Montgomery. I think he's the steal of the absolute century. I definitely believe he can score 20 points per game next year. I'm not expecting it, but I would say 17 or more is very, very healthy expectations. I do also believe that Shanahan loves a workhorse running back, and McCaffrey will have the entire offseason to get completely healthy. So maybe it's just a difference of philosophy here, but I think McCaffrey is a hard hold.
Yeah, I'm not saying to sell him now. I'm saying if I were to sell him, it would have to be for the right price at the right time.
Yeah.
I just think with CMC's history, not that he has a long list of injury history, but I don't know. I'm just not seeing the old CMC, and I think 17 points is fine. And maybe that's exactly what you need, because I know that's one of the things he says, my running back room. I feel like my QBs and wide receivers are strong, but my running back could get better. If you want your running backs to get better, then get more depth.
Well, I have a couple ideas. I think, first things first. I think panic is the wrong word. I would say do not trade just to trade this offseason. I think that's probably the most dangerous thing for this team. Because you already have all the answers to your team. Again, like let's walk through this one more time. I know it seems like stupid to do this, but let's think through the starting lineup. Again, if you hold until next year, Jaden Daniels, about as good as it gets at quarterback. Jahmyr Gibbs, CMC. If CMC's healthy, if he's 70% of what he was, that's one of the best running back rooms in your league. Then you have Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, and you can flex one of or two of Monty, Ayuk, Judy, even Devontae Adams, even Calvin Ridley. I mean, this team has, there's no flaws necessarily anywhere. It might not have like the superstar wide receiver room outside of Nico that you might want, but there aren't any real flaws. So it's not that big of a deal that you don't have draft capital, but it just limits really any flexibility. I will say the names I would be interested in selling would be Calvin. No, I want to hold him because they're going to get a new quarterback. Would be Devontae Adams and Rico Dowdle. And also these quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, which you can probably actually sell for something if someone doesn't have a decent starter. I don't think you can sell younger Lawrence in a one quarterback. But let's add Bryce Young there as well because we don't need 4 quarterbacks. Let's be honest. So first thing I think we should try and do is find a quarterback needy team if there are any, Badaki.
Yeah, there's one. T. Joy.
Yeah,
I mean, he has Anthony Richardson, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr. He's struggling.
So would you be interested in like a? Do we just want to grab a second rounder for Darnold?
Yeah, I was gonna say a second for Darnold, unless you wanted to take a chance on another running back, which I doubt you take if this guy doesn't believe. Well, no, let's just do the second for safety.
T. Joy. This is from T. Joy.
Yeah.
And that second might be early. He's 5-9. So I mean, that's not a good quarterback class. Is probably not happy with his quarterbacks. T. Joy. That could make a lot of sense. The other route that you could take is. Do we try and... I don't think there's another route. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. You could try and turn Sam Darnold plus something into Rome Odunze. So, for example, Sam Darnold plus Calvin Ridley. I think you can take that shot.
Yeah. Sure, I just don't think that will happen, but yeah.
I don't think so either. Plus Devontae Adams, plus your third. I don't know. These probably aren't going to happen, but again, there's no harm in like there are plenty of people who are completely out on Dunes after this year. Like there are, so it's worth trying. I don't know if there's another team. How about the Patrick Mahomes team?
Yeah, like, the Patrick Mahomes team. I mean, I think you definitely can. You can do the Sam Darnold, get a second. You can do Bryce Young, get a second. I would say there. This guy doesn't have much wide receivers, so if you wanted to do like the, well, he's probably not going to want an old Devontae Adams or a Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. You could also. Yeah. No, I think that's what makes sense. It's hard because there's no flexibility with his picks. We can't even attach a second to Sam Darnold for something. You know, we don't have that ability. So.
8.
Yeah, I think that's probably like maybe Brian Robinson. I don't really want to buy Brian Robinson right now. I'm not sure I really trust that situation moving forward. And I think you really don't have another option here at quarterback, at least. Yeah, I think those are your two teams that you can really target. Would the Jordan Love guy, he might entertain a conversation. Like, what if you could do Sam Darnold for Jalen McMillan straight up? I would do that.
I mean, yeah, I would. I guess I don't see why he needs him. You know, like, I guess he has Kirk Cousins, who's gonna be a backup. Same with Jameis.
Yeah, and it's not like Jordan Love's had an all-world year either.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
That's your quarterback options. I think you're limited. Also, you can interchange Bryce Young with Sam Darnold in these deals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's more options than I thought we'd have for this guy already, to be honest with you. The other thing is, if you can sell Devontae Adams, or I would say Devontae Adams for any second at this point. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Also, because we don't even need him on this team, but also Rico Dowdle, same thing, any second I'd sell him for, especially before the draft. I don't.
Any second or third, I would, personally.
I don't think there's really any other moves that we can make right now.
Yeah, there's no one here that has the value for you outside of Nico, and you don't Nico and Daniels and Jameer, and you don't want to trade those guys right now.
We don't.
So you're best off holding.
I agree. It's a good team, by the way. Hopefully there wasn't any confusion when we said it was an F. That's your draft capital grade, your overall team grade. We almost gave you an A. I think B plus is where we landed, but don't get too cute with it. You know, you're gonna have to play the patient game, I think, with this scenario here. But we appreciate you big time, my man. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Your team playbook is going to be in your DMs on the Flock site within 72 hours. All right. Probably 48, but maybe 72 hours at most. You'll have your playbook specifically customized to exactly your team. Appreciate you big time. And thanks so much for the love, man. Very, very kind of you. Supporting the channel. And hopefully that was helpful. Honestly, when I saw your team at first, I was like, ah, shit. I don't think we're going to be able to say anything. So I'm glad we were able to whip some stuff up there. Which, and by the way, they're all actually good ideas. I was just a little bit worried. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. Yeah. But yeah, I like the team. Did we give a pathway for that team? I think contender.
Yeah,
or
contender.
I think Windows Open, actually. I think this is a true Windows Open team. Because there's no draft capital.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's a mix. I would be happy to put either or. I feel like he's definitely contended with the pieces that he has, but I'm happy to put Windows Open.
Yeah. It's just there's no reason not to be all in, basically. It's like, this is your window. There's no reason to not be all in, especially with George Kittle as your tight end, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Let's go on to Penix Envy here, who did not attach his team via the website. Instead, he attached screenshots. This is a way that you can do it. We would definitely suggest when you guys are submitting your teams that you link your teams first, because that's going to allow us to see your entire league. Now, this person hasn't done that. That's okay. But we're going to be working on limited information here. But let's go ahead and read this out.
He's just trying to figure out Keon Coleman. Just when he started to making plays and building trust with Allen, he gets injured or disappears. Betting Rome will have a JSN like second year, gambling on T, being dealt, playing on selling high on Deontay. I have a 25 101. 102, 209, and the 210 here. He says thoughts are to nab Genty at the 101 and move the 102 for a starter, or move back to pick up Luther Burden.
I love that. It sounds like you've been watching potentially my rookie content, because that's exactly what I would suggest to do. Or maybe you're just brilliant like me. I'm kidding. And you had the same idea. But no, I love that idea. Let's have a look at the team. We don't know what we can gather what the starting lineup is. 1, 2, 3.
I was gonna say the problem here, which I really think we should tell him to, like, we can do this and then have him link his team, is that he won't have any fill-ins. Like, he won't have team rank, because we don't know where his team's ranked. We don't have, positional priorities, because we don't know what that is. Do you get what I'm saying? We don't have any of that.
Yeah, we just have to work with what people give us. So I just have to put an A on that specific part.
Okay, well, okay, sure. Yeah, we could try that.
So it's a start 7 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a start 11, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 7. Yeah, it's a start 11. It is super flex. That's pretty big. Start 11 Superflex. That's rolling deep. Lineup. Depth is definitely important. You got 4 flex spots, or 3 flex spots and 3 starting wide receivers. So you can start up to 6 wide receivers total. And right now his starting lineup is Caleb Williams, Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary, so not strong at running back there. Tyler Lockett, T. Higgins, Roma Dunze, Tucker Kraft, Pacheco, Ertz, Keon, Goff. Not the strongest starting lineup. Let's just say that. Outside of Higgins, I'm not thrilled. But let's look at the bench. We've got Russell Wilson, Will Levis. We've got Trey Benson, which didn't work out. Sean Tucker, Ricky Pearsall. All right, you got a cokehead here with Jalen Coker. But a lot of projects that didn't work. For example, Jermaine Burton. I loved him, but that didn't work. Malik Washington's a strong hold for sure. So let's put Washington as a hold because I am obsessed with holding him this offseason.
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall, strong hold, considering they can move one of those wide receivers in San Francisco right now. But this is dangerously close to blowing it up, I think.
Yeah, there's not much here to like. I don't even think you have like a untouchable.
No, I think Caleb is probably your best player, but I wouldn't consider him untouchable. I think it's between Caleb, T. Higgins, and Jared Goff. I think it's very close between who's the most valuable player, but none of them are tier 1 elite untouchable assets. There is no untouchable asset outside of your own first round pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Your first round picks, all of his first round picks, say that for however many years you want to put on the graphic, they're all untouchable. We do not trade our first round picks. I said you can drop Burton. You can drop Demarcus Robinson if you need to clear space. I mean, you could probably drop Devin Singletary, but we don't need to. Yeah, I mean, 1 or 2 picks is not going to change the trajectory of this team right now.
No, not at all.
So right now we have the 2 first round picks, and remind me, his plan was to
get Genty and then see if he can move back with the second overall.
Did he say that in the DMs?
Burden. Yeah, he did.
Okay, so let's say you did get Genty and you got Burden. You still don't have a starting RB2. You don't have one anywhere on the roster. And you still would have to start Lockett, maybe, or Ertz, or Keon. It's possible you sneak into the playoffs. I don't think it's likely. I feel very strongly in saying this is a full rebuild.
I agree. I don't think there's anything here, respectfully, to build off of outside of Caleb. Well, look, let me rephrase that. There are a couple pieces, but the rest, like, you don't have a strong running back room. Your only starting wide receivers is essentially T. Higgins, Roma Dunze. Your tight end room is essentially non-existent. I know Zach Ertz there.
I would say this, like, there are players that have the potential to be untouchables. There are players that have potential to be pillars, like your Caleb Williams, like your Roma Dunze's. I mean, that's T. Higgins, maybe. I don't know. But
yeah,
right now, like, those players don't exist on this roster. So, look, if we were like 2 pieces away, I think we could say a different story. But I think the most valuable thing on your team, and I'm not saying this in a rude way, is your draft picks.
Yeah, Caleb.
And Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb was like a C-.
This is people come to us for honesty with their team. This is...
Considering the draft capital is pretty good.
I was going to say, if the draft capital wasn't there, this is definitely D range. But with the draft capital... Yeah, I'm on the fence, like C minus D plus. I do love Jalen Coker, by the way. Can we add him as a hold if we haven't add another one?
Sure.
I love Jalen Coker. Highest yards per route run, second highest yards per route run in this class against man coverage.
I'm just gonna put Rome Odunze as a hold as well.
Yeah, Odunze is a great hold as well. I would agree with you there. So who do we have for holds right now? Odunze and
Malik,
Coker?
Ricky, Coker, Rome.
Okay, those are great holds, all of those.
Yeah.
Let's transition into just a plan of action for this team. I think draft capital grade, we can only really see a limited amount, but it looks like you have good draft capital. I will put it at a B plus, A minus. Yeah. We don't know exactly what else you have outside of that, but
I'm there with you.
Let's switch focus here and let's head to the chalkboard. And let's start cooking up some ideas. So at the 101, I said Ashton Genty, and you know what? I'm fine with that, but I want to play this two ways, Badaki. And let me explain. So let's say option 1, which is straight up, okay? And then I'd like to play option 2, which is maybe what I would prefer, which is basically like every pick equals max value. Okay?
Sure.
And in this scenario, we are trading away the 101 for a haul. 3 firsts plus something, or that's the idea.
Yeah.
The 102 trading away for, or trading back, right?
Okay.
Like from the 102, let's say you trade all the way down to the one. Is this one quarterback or super flex?
Super flex.
So you trade all the way down to the 107 if you want, plus what? Is that another first? So it means you don't get Tet McMillan, but instead you get a Marion Hampton or Caleb Johnson or Luther Burden or one of these quarterbacks plus a first round pick. And then the 209 and the 210, we just try to hit, right, on those. That is option 2. I think that's what will make most sense for this roster. Option 1 is similar, but you just take Ashton Genty and then you still trade back from the 102. No matter which way you go, I would 100,000% suggest trading back from the 102. Right now, I want to stay inside the top 7. That's where a tier breaks off for me. But depending on the right haul, I could be convinced to go back all the way to 9. Probably wouldn't go further than that. And ideally, again, I want to stay in the top 7.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is most likely going to be within your rookie draft. So unless you can get something done before, but these picks are valued at their absolute peak, most likely right after the draft or during your rookie drafts, because people are going to want to get their hands on Ashton Genty. People want to get their hands on Tet McMillan, depending if he goes at the 102, or Cam Ward, or if they really love the landing spot, whatever the case may be, they're at their peak at your rookie draft. So try and hold that as long as possible.
That's a fantastic point. I'm glad you said that, because I didn't. I would 100% agree. You don't do this until your actual rookie draft. That's when it will be at most value, like Badaki said. Great point. I believe option 2 is going to be the key to really see a future for this team. For example, you trade away the 101 and you get Rome Odunze. Do we have a Odunze already? Sorry. I'm trying to think of like a name that's like a buy low. Do you know what I mean? You get a Brandon Ayuk and 2 firsts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really think option 2 is the best idea. You trade away Genty for 3 future firsts. Make sure it's not to a team that's going to be the late first every single year. You trade back from the 102 to the 107. Like just as an example, you go from the 102, You get the 107 plus a future first. You know?
Yeah, agreed.
And if you want to go back, like you can even go all the way back to the 109 and try and make it a future first plus 2 seconds. You know?
Yeah, agreed.
Like that's the ranges that you're in there. I just think the top 7's a tier, the top 9's a tier, but as of right now, you know, if you go from the 101, you know, you're thinking of, all right, well, what if I want to go from the 101 and I want to trade back? Okay, so we're going to trade back from the 101. We're going to go to the 107, and we want, 2 future firsts probably, Badaki?
Yeah, multiple
plus 2 future seconds. Like, that's the kind of, maybe a future second. I don't know. Like, that's the kind of haul you'd probably need. Right? Because at the 107, you still get a player we like in the class, and you get 2 future firsts, and, you know, you're not... You don't need to be building around a running back right now as a rebuilder. It's the least important position to build around right now.
Yeah, keep in mind, obviously, we said this is a full rebuild, so this most likely is going to take maybe 2 to 3 years, depending on the players that you do acquire, you do draft, or the type of picks, where these picks are going to be. Like, let's say you end up not going for two future first picks, and you go for players. And like, okay, you gather all these players together that could somehow be a contender in a year or two. But yes. I would agree with Zach. Trying to get future picks is key, especially in the full rebuild. And you have key pieces already. Like, you have some key pieces that are going to be some of your foundational pieces. Obviously, the Caleb Williams, the Rome Odunzes, the T. Higgins. Obviously, you were talking about Keon Coleman in that description. Maybe you like Keon Coleman a lot, and you were hoping big things for him. Obviously, it didn't work out with Trey Benson. Not that it didn't work out. It's just James Conner got a contract extension, which is unfortunate. And then, you know, maybe one of those 49ers do get traded in Ayuk, or Debo and Ricky's the wide receiver one there, right? So there's some exciting stuff for this team for sure. Just have to be patient. Jalen Wright you have on your bench as well, with Malik Washington. With Tyreek potentially out, Malik's a new guy, you know, potentially with Raheem Mostert out. And they can't be running the offense through Devon like they did this past year. So maybe Jalen Wright gets some workload. So that's exciting.
Yeah. You know, I'm just writing down, like, there's so many names that you could put with these picks, you know. I like, genuinely, the amount of names that are eligible for these late seconds is like 20 names. So just putting them out there for him to see. You go BPA is what I'm trying to say, but I'm just giving you, you know, like true BPA, right? But that's your plan for the draft. You know, another idea which I cooked up while you were talking is, like, you move the 101 for the 107 to Ayuk in a future first. You know, like, people are going to value Ginty the way they value Bijan, which was 3 first round values, three first round picks as a value. Now, outside of that, like, quite frankly, let's just a list of players that you literally cannot trade for any value: Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary, Tyler Lockett, probably Tucker, Will Levis, McCaffrey, DeMarcus Robinson. Right now, Deontay Johnson. Maybe that changes. Roman Wilson, Noah Brown.
Yeah.
You just can't get anything for those guys, so it doesn't even make sense to talk about trades.
What could potentially be.
I do think T. Higgins, I would be open to moving once he signs a deal. All right? So T. Higgins has been an absolute superstar when healthy. Can you get 2 future seconds for him when he becomes a Bengal long term? You know,
I think you get a first.
I meant first. I meant first.
I was gonna say.
Is what I meant to say. You know, because you don't really, you would hold a Dunze, right? We want to hold a Dunze. We can sell Higgins in this build. We want to hold Caleb. I don't know that we need to sell Jared Goff, but I would definitely be open to it. I also think Pacheco is another name I would definitely sell. Not that I'm suggesting he's going to be replaced, but easy sell considering the path we want to take. Can you get 2 future seconds? Can you get a first in any year? You know, do you want to wait until the NFL draft and see if he doesn't get replaced and get a guaranteed future first? Yeah, you can hold Coleman, like you said. You can hold Benson. I would definitely hold Coker and Pearsall, like we mentioned. You know, the good news is you have, like, if you were to go full rebuild, like we're saying, you have a lot of names that we'd like to have on a rebuild, right? But actually, like Williams, Adunze. We'd love to have those guys on a rebuild. I guess Coleman, not really for us, but I guess definitely Pearsall. We would suggest to buy Pearsall on a rebuilder and Coker, and so
hell, even Trey Benson if James Conner doesn't work out. So
sure, that's a great point too. Yeah, he's a stronghold as well. So again, in my opinion, this is blow it up. This is a full rebuild when we're looking at the pathway. Talks about how to use your draft capital. Love the idea of moving some of these, some of these picks. I love T. Higgins for 2 future firsts. I love Pacheco for 2 future seconds. And it's really like, I think every transaction you do for the next year would be all about maximizing value.
Yeah.
Not caring about names. Do not care about building around the running back position. You don't need to care about that for at least a year. I know we love Genty, but it just doesn't matter. You don't need to build around a running back. So yeah, that's how I approach this team.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. And hopefully that helps. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult not having this team linked, but we did our best with everything that we had. You're going to be getting that playbook here within 72 hours, which is exciting for you. Just stay tuned to the Flock Fantasy messages where you submitted your team. That's exactly where you'll be getting that. So appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, we do appreciate you big time. And I think we'll call it a day there for now. But we're going to keep doing these team reviews every day. So,
yeah.
If you're out there and you've submitted a team review recently, it's only our second day back from a 2-week break on the channel. So when we get caught up, it'll be like a very quick turnaround. But right now, don't worry. We're doing them every day. So if you've submitted one, we'll be with you very soon. But if you guys are watching this and you want your team reviewed, very, very, very simple. There's 2 ways that you can get your Dynasty playbook. Again, the playbook is something that is sent after we do your review. That's if you get the live version, right? But that is sent in the DMs on the Flock site, the same area where you message us there, but direct plan, personalized for your team to have a successful offseason to get your team in the right place. If you want to have access to your playbook, there's 2 ways. The first option is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. Not only do you get a playbook, you also get our 2025 rookie report, which is a draft guide for the class. The other option is by just purchasing one a la carte. All right. And you can do that on the site, regardless of what promo code you use. You can get a team review from us. And if you are going to go through that route, this is what it would look like. So you click team review. Once you're there, if you haven't linked your teams up, obviously that's something that you would want to do. But you click on your team, it'll automatically impact your settings. All you need to do is choose your team. Make sure your draft capital is right. If it's not, add a pick. Once you hit next, you'll see Zach and Badaki here. If you want a live version, all you got to do is pay $10 more. We'll try and prioritize you, obviously. If you want the offline version, that's the standard set. And discounts are available for members, obviously. But, because we have a lot of members who want multiple reviews. So, appreciate y'all big time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Is there anything else that I haven't thought of that we need to say before we log off for today?
No. When you do sign up, you do also get our draft guide.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay, that's awesome. That's about it then. See you tomorrow.
All right, guys. All love. We appreciate you big time. Degree says, would you guys trade Genty and Pollard for Puka? Don't care about Pollard. It's even. It's an even offer. Would you trade Burrow for Drake May in the 102? I would definitely trade Burrow for Drake May in the 101. I don't know about the 102.
I don't know about the 102. I think I need to put a name to that. Like, where's Tech going?
Yeah, 102 is a little bit more iffy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate you.
guys.
Have a good night. We'll see you soon.
Love.
All love.